This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Patrons at Tasmanian pubs and clubs with gaming machines will soon only be able to get a maximum of $100 cash out under new gambling reforms. The restrictions come into effect from the 1st of May. The government today also clarifying new alcohol and pokie laws.
He was out to discuss the winter flu, but it's the health of our poker machine players that's again got the community talking. As of May 1, tighter restrictions will mean people playing pokies will no longer be able to call for drinks while sitting or standing at machines between certain times.
This is a decision of the Liquor and Gaming Commission. It's a decision that's made independently.
Players can still consume alcohol at pokies. They'll just need to get drinks themselves from the bar. The new no machine service restriction will apply all day at pubs and clubs and between 6 p.m. and close at casinos.
This decision by the Commission, I think, actually supports the government's policy of supporting people who are problem gamblers, and I think it's a sensible, common sense decision.
If the government believe that it is an alcohol-fuelled issue in gambling, then they have fundamentally misunderstood the issue of problem gambling. Those problem gamblers don't go in and drink copious amounts of alcohol. They sit on a glass of water or a lemon squash all day and lose hundreds upon hundreds of dollars.
The Hospitality Association fears FPOS limits of $100 at pubs and $200 at casinos will mainly impact those not using pokies. Others believe the reforms don't go far enough.
It's ultimately just another band-aid until the state government implements deep reform, then the harm from pokies will largely continue.
The Liberal Party maintains it won't scrap pokies. Michael Ferguson instead focusing his attention on winter health. Last year, more than 20 people died in Tasmanian nursing homes following an influenza outbreak. Now we're urged to get a flu vaccination as soon as possible.
In terms of the older people, don't go and get one in the local pharmacies because they're going to be offering the standard quadrivalent vaccine, which is the one that we used last year, which doesn't really work that well in the elderly. Go to your GP and get the new vaccine.
Everybody should get injections, but we also need a plan to manage what happens in our hospitals, because people will present at emergency hospitals and we already know that there are no beds.
No additional beds will be put into the LGH this winter, but planning is underway for the construction of a new ward. Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
A flash rally in Hobart today has called on federal politicians to put an immediate stop to the live export of our animals. More than 100 Tasmanians have pledged to fight against what they say is hideous animal cruelty happening under Australia's watch. And a warning to viewers, the vision in this story may be distressing to watch.
The sheep today the subject of a political rally. Frustrated Tasmanians using banners and placards to share their message about cruelty to animals like Maisie.
Say it again, enough is enough.
Today's rally fuelled by media attention surrounding Australia's live export industry. 60 Minutes recently airing an expose which showed footage of thousands of dead and dying sheep on board a ship bound for the Middle East.
To see what's happened on those boats makes me sick, it makes me cry.
Seeing it was pretty horrific, I think, and I think it has just jolted the Australian conscience so much.
The issue garnering support from all ages, protesters calling on our nation's politicians to immediately end live animal exports.
It's systemically cruel, it's not in Australia's economic self-interest, and it's not popular. Why the government, a series of governments, would be so out of step with the community beggars belief.
The voices of people is what's needed to make change, real change.
The federal government has grounded the ship in question and says it will review regulations, but has not ruled out stopping live exports.
The Tasmanian community care as much about sheep and cattle on the mainland as they do here at home, and they want the trade wound up.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
For the first time, the Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra has joined forces with the Launceston Philharmonic Orchestra. The two ensembles rehearsed side by side this morning as part of a TSO Education Day.
This is the first time we've been able to do it in Launceston, and I think it's a a wonderful opportunity for community musicians to work with professional musicians, and you can tell they make a great sound.
The TSO also undertook a community masterclass at Scotch Oakburn College this afternoon. Those with a green thumb can smile wider tonight, knowing that working in the garden is good for your mental health. Chandler's Nursery was today celebrating gardening's benefits with a range of activities as part of Garden Relief Day.
When you're in the garden, you're nurturing, you're caring for a living thing, and when you're doing that, a lot of your worries seem to just float away. So there's a lot of physical benefits as well.
Funds raised from today's activities will be donated to Beyond Blue. Some of Tasmania's most talented young people have spent today showcasing their abilities at a Youth Week event in Hobart. Musicians to beauticians sharing their skills as part of an initiative to boost confidence and empower the next generation.
Striking a chord for all the right reasons, this group of young musicians getting together for a special Youth Week performance.
It's kind of the first time I've ever really played with a band like this, and to have it be a part of Youth Week and have so many people around, I think it's really exciting.
Today's Music at Mona event attracting over 50 young people, all showcasing a range of skills from music to art and hair and makeup.
I think what we're doing is we're looking more at the individual, and we're not necessarily trying to pop them in a box with everyone else. So we're bringing out the best in their own personality.
Having their voice heard, being able to showcase their talents, being able to share their ideas is really empowering for them.
The initiative run by Tascare Society for Children, promoting the abilities of Tasmanian young people, aiming to encourage them to fulfil their potential.
So their self-confidence and their self-esteem, and also to meet other people and to be able to come together, and particularly at Mona.
Today's event just one of many being held across the state this week. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
For the TSL first tonight, and flag favourites North Launceston have suffered a shock loss at the hands of old rivals Glenorchy at UTAS Stadium this afternoon, while Lauderdale and North Hobart remain winless this season, with Launceston and Clarence too good on the road. With 8 players, including several of the Bombers' best, out due to a bout of food poisoning around the club, frustrations boiled over early. Pies skipper Braden Webb kept his cool in front of the sticks, awarding the visitors the early lead. With the Bombers uncharacteristically out of sorts, tempers continued to flare, Callan Daly pulling out this contender for Mark of the Year before extending the lead. Tom Bennett slotting one through to give the home side a sniff, but chances were few and far between for the flag favourites as Glenorchy took control of the match, leading at every change before storming home with a 52-point upset win. On the Eastern Shore, it was the visitors who dominated the midfield battle early, with Jack Rushton delivering the Blues their first of the match, Thomas Shepherd making the most of a tidy transition forward before Jack Donnellan silenced the Lauderdale Oval crowd with another. The Bombers gifted their first of the game, courtesy of a high hit on Campbell Hooker, with Alex Heavey doing his best to shift the momentum back in the home side's favour. The tight tussle continued as Ryan Wiggins got himself on the scoreboard, but the Bombers ran out of puff after half-time, allowing the Blues to run away with it. The visitors putting on 8 second-half majors to come away the 62-point winners. At North Hobart Oval, the young and inexperienced D's were competitive early against the Roos, but the cracks began to show after quarter time, with Gabe Chambers bombing home this major from outside the arc, and from there it was all Clarence, notching up their second win of the season by 42 points. To the NPL now, and Devonport have claimed bragging rights against fierce rival South Hobart at Darcy Street this afternoon, with striker skipper Braden Mann drawing first blood for the visitors before Dan Brown smashed home a header to square things after half-time. Joel Stone providing the winner with just minutes left of play, with Devonport taking it 2-1. It was a one-sided affair over at Kingborough, with the Lions making easy work of the heavily favoured Hobart Zebras, booting 5 unanswered goals against the league's top side. A similar story in the north, with the Rangers running rampant against Clarence. The visitors managed just the 1 goal for the match, as the home side had a field day, slotting 7 into the back of the net for the 6-goal win.
Good evening. Hobart 17 today, Launceston and Burnie 15, Devonport 16. The big chill seemed to strike today. The state's top was 19 at Friendly Beaches and Mount Wellington took the state's low of 2. It was 18 on Flinders, 17 in Grove, Ouse, St Helens and Maria, 16 in Smithton and Lowhead, 15 on King Island, 13 in Strahan and Liaweenie took a 6. The highest recorded rainfall was 30 mil near Mount Roland. The satellite shows convective cloud over the Bass, high level cloud sitting over the lower part of the east. Nationwide, we can see that cool change has come from 2 swift-moving cold fronts crossing southeast of Australia. Cool, unstable air is currently moving across Tasmania and a high-pressure system is southwest of Western Australia. Tomorrow, strong west to southwesterly winds will persist over Tasmania and another low pressure system will approach us on Monday. Western Australia has a high pressure system continuing to build. On the water, west to southwesterly winds reaching 35 knots and 40 knots about the north. Seas to 6.5 metres for the west and 6 metres about the south. There's plenty of warnings, a gale warning current for all Tasmanian coastal waters for westerly winds, a strong wind warning current for all southeast inshore waters, and a small craft wind alert for southwest and the Central Plateau Lakes. There's also a warning to sheep graziers for most of the grazing districts. Tomorrow, showers and wind across the south, Hobart and Richmond 13, Ouse 12, Launceston showers 14, wet and windy in Devonport 15, Deloraine 11, Burnie and Strahan showers and wind 15, Curry 16, and wet for the east as well, St Helens, Whitemark 16, Swansea 15. The 3-day forecast will show some improvements with the wind and rain for the school holidays. Monday mainly fine for the east, showers elsewhere which will contract to the west coast. The gusty westerlies will start to ease. On Tuesday, showers about the west and south, easing in the evening, fine elsewhere. And Wednesday, possible showers for the west, but the sun will return with plenty of 19s to be seen on the map. And there's still plenty of sun around as we approach the 7th week of autumn. Perth a warm 28, Alice 29, Sydney 25, Melbourne showers with 19.
Well, that's all from the news team for now. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.